So we've reviewed so far how to solve a bunch of different stuff, how to graph a bunch of different stuff, and now we're going to review how to write equations given a bunch of different information. So let's start with given a graph. If I'm given this graph and I want to write the equation of the line, the first thing I'm going to look for is, does this graph have a nice y-intercept? Which it does. That tells me that the best way to write this equation is probably going to be to figure out the m and the b. Now the m is the slope, so the rise here would be 4, the run would be 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The b is the y-intercept, which would be positive 1. So my equation would be y equals 2x plus 1, and I'm done. Now if I'm given 2 points, I'm still going to need a point and a slope. So I'm not going to use the y-intercept anymore because that's kind of harder to do. I would just use point-slope form. First I'm going to figure out the m. So to figure out the m, I would do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That gives me negative 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3. Now I'm going to use point-slope form. So y minus the first y, which is 2, equals negative 3, which was my slope, parentheses x minus 1. And that would be the equation of my line. Now if I specifically give you a point and a slope, this is a good time to use point-slope form. It's kind of in the name. So I would do y, and then minus a negative becomes plus 4, equals negative 1/2, and then x minus the 3, and I'm done. That's point-slope form. If I give you a slope and a y-intercept, it's probably a good time to use slope-intercept form. So y equals 3x plus 5, and I'm done. If I tell you that I want my line to be parallel to this one, then that means the slope of my new line should be the same as the slope of my old line, because parallel lines have the same slope. So I would write y minus the y value from the ordered pair is 3 equals the m times x minus negative 2 would be plus 2. If I want my line to be perpendicular, then instead of using the same slope, I would use the opposite reciprocal, which means flip it over and switch the sign to a negative. So I would write y minus the y value is a 2 equals negative 1/2 times x, and then minus a negative 1 would become plus 1. Basically, that's the two types of equations that we use to write equations of lines, slope-intercept form and point-slope form. But we could also find a line of best fit for some data using our calculator. So to do that, we would convert, because these are years, into numbers. So the first year would be 0. Now the year 1995 is 2 years after the year 1993, so I would make that a 2. 1996 would be 3 years after 1993. 1997 would be 4 years after 1993. To type in your data, you go to Stat, and then Edit. So I'm going to go to Stat, Edit. The first column is going to get my x's, so 0, 2, 3, 4. Delete any extra numbers that you might have. Second column is going to get my y's, so 7.8, 22, 43, 67. Then I'm going to go back to Stat. I'm going to go to Calculate, which is the second menu. I'm just going to slide over, and I'm going to choose option 4. Enter, 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 and I get this data. Now based on that, I would say that my line of best fit would be y equals 14.45x plus 2.43. Now I notice that my R value is 0.96, so that would be a strong positive correlation. And that's that. Tomorrow we're going to have sort of a miscellaneous, like here's some stuff that doesn't really fit into any particular category. I hope this helped you review writing equations for semester 1, and I'll see you tomorrow for one last review video.